Okay, here we are, and we are back. One second. All right, so we have part two. I was just live for those of you that missed out on that first maybe 15, 20 minutes. There's a part one to this video. Will quickly reiterate a few things from that video because it was cut short. But I am here for the rest. I am settled in, so I'm able to actually chill with you guys and take my time. So I will just wait for some of you to come back on. For those of you just coming in, hello, welcome to Lucid Living TV. My name is Sky, and we are here talking about quite a few things. Just a few things, a few updates, and a topic, the dawn of the morning. We were getting into that topic before. Again, we cut the first video short. So, first off, I just wanted to remind you guys that, yes, real quick, I am ranked as number 5 as top 5 for Sierra's dance icon. Just wanted to put that out there. Thanking you guys for voting for me. I am in the running to be in her next music video. I love to dance. A lot of you guys don't know that part of me, the music part of me, but I am ranked as number 5. And you can actually click the link in the description to vote for me. Go straight to the link and have me possibly become Sierra's next dance icon. So that'll be cool if you guys want to support that. Also, as always, I usually do readings every now and then, just depending on how I feel. But it's always welcome, donations, contributions to the conversation. In general, it helps a lot. Always thankful for anything that you guys have to just pay forward for the message. So you will see my Cash App in the chat and the description, as well as Venmo and PayPal and so on, if you would like to contribute to just an overall message. Yes, and that is it. And we can cut the intro short and get back into the conversation. So from the last, hey Bobby, good to see you. So from the last video, real quick, I was talking about the crime of Lucifer, the fallen angel, really looking into truly what the deceit was, what the rebellion was against God. Why did he become such a monster? Cast it away and just cast it into Satan's pits, or the pit of Satan, or become Satan himself, right? Depending on how you read the word. And again, what was the crime? I talk a lot about the war against love and beauty, and I'll say this again, as I said in my last video, really quickly. There is a beautiful, sparkling essence that some of us do truly carry unapologetically, and through going through alchemy of trials and tribulations, not always being in the space of being a shining one. When you have gone through so much trauma and then get to the triumphant part of self, there is a part and there's a graduation of the spirit that really, really deserves to shine through. And when I'm talking about the beautiful ones, I am talking about that level of beauty. We all have features and aesthetics and standardized, like so-called what is pretty, beautiful, standard for attraction, for love and relationships. I'm not speaking on that level of preference because that's a different thing, right? I'm talking about being a beautiful fucking person, a beautiful soul, a beautiful one, a beautiful spirit. And no matter the features, no matter the complexion, no matter the anything, when you can really shine through the true essence of your avatar, your body, your flesh, and allow the beautiful, triumphant part of self to loudly be in that essence and that mode, there's a different level of attraction. There's a different level of beauty that cannot be duplicated. It can only be felt and seen. And in some areas that may feel offended by this level of shining, there's a lot of condemning that can happen, which I feel like a lot of stories in the Bible or a lot of eras going through the time periods, this wasn't allowed. This was a crime, and there were people that were there were people that were speaking on the behalf of God more so than God speaking. As you get to certain books in the Bible where speaking on the behalf of God, God said this is a horrible thing, and God casted this beautiful angel upon, the pits of hell and earth, to dwell in like shame, outside of the glory, because his crime was rebelling against God. Now, God created Lucifer, the angel, in the sense as being in the seat of heaven amongst the council and the order. Um, like he was that angel. He was the perfect one. And when we're talking about angelic beings, we're talking about double-sided. We're talking he and she. These are androgynous beings. All angels are androgynous. Okay, but to protect the feminine side, I am not against this. We will use the pre-noun he, right? He. There's the Lucy or the Luciferian side of the female, also in the same entity, embodiment of what we call Lucifer, the angel. And all of the other angels, archangels, and so on. There's always that feminine side that is on the side of being comforted and protected by the masculine point of view, protected by the word. If there's any damage done, it's almost like it's how when you're walking down the street and you're walking with a man, if you're a woman, you're walking with your girl, you're walking down the street with a dude, he stands, he has you stand on you walk on the inside while he walks on the outside down the street. And it's like a gentleman thing to do, just in case anything happens. A car comes up on a curb, he gets hit before you and can possibly save you from something. That's kind of like the idea of angelic he before the angelic she. So he's always protecting that point of view of her, especially through God's word, because words are swords and they can kill. They are very permanent in a lot of ways. So these masculine types and archetypes are very important, as we talk about the Bible and the word and the he point of view. Yes, so thank you, Natasha. So where was I? So I was reading into just a few scriptures, really just wanting to understand the crime, because I have expressed that in a lot of our cycles, or the cycle that we're in now, there's a war against the beautiful ones, in which I spoke of. And it's really like this weird organized cult like thing that is really trying to darken the world, like create a gray matter over the sunny skies, turning it into a cold place full of misery because they're miserable. And the shining ones bring out the sun, they bring out the warmth, they bring out the feelings of goodness and embracing. And it's just like, we can't have none of this. It's raining in LA today and it's like 60 degrees, and it's just like, I think there's a conspiracy to turn LA into like a gray, non-sunny, semi-warm place in the next 5 years. Like, I think these motherfuckers are trying to take over the weather with their horrible thoughts, because thoughts turn into air. Okay, air and thoughts connect, clouds form from those thoughts, and they do operate under an instruction of the most dominant thought pattern. And weather is now created by a group that has dominated the airwaves or the air on purpose. And this is like a thing. Anyway, I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, so let me back up. Let me go into the scripture real quick. So it says here, I pulled up, I think on Christianity.com. Hold on. Okay. Dot. All right. In Isaiah 14 indicate an element of pride, which is also evidenced in Ezekiel, which makes a reference to Satan's conceit. So in the first video, we looked up the definition of conceited. Conceited is just extremely prideful, extremely proud of self, and just extremely celebratory of one's beauty and everything that is good about a person. Like that's conceit. That's being conceited. An excess amount of, like it's an excessively proud person. Okay, so when we think about excessively, are we thinking about someone who's always proud, or are we thinking about someone who's just boastful? Now there's a difference between being boastful, like telling everybody how amazing you are, versus just being proud, right? So there's those borderlines with that. As a result of this heinous sin, okay, this heinous sin against God. Now, I'm just trying to figure out in what area of word, and please somebody let me know, because I have not finished all the books or anything. I'm not like well versed in the Bible enough. What sin are they speaking of? Okay, does anybody, the commandment, the thing, the rule, the law, I'm trying to figure that out. But they call this a heinous sin. Okay, so let me get back. As a result of this heinous sin against God, being conceited, Lucifer was banished from living in heaven. This is Isaiah 14:12. He became corrupt, and his name changed from Lucifer, morning star, to Satan, adversary. So Satan means adversary, I should say, adversary. His power became completely perverted, and his destiny following the second coming of Christ is to be bound in a pit during the 1,000-year millennial kingdom over which Christ will rule, and eventually be thrown into the lake of fire. Matthew 25:41. Now, what does the name Lucifer mean? I'm going to continue reading. Lucifer, light bearer, found in Isaiah 14:12, coupled with the epithet, if I'm saying that correctly, son of the morning, okay, clearly signifies a bright star, and probably what we call the morning star. In this passage, it is a symbolical representation of the king of Babylon in his splendor and in his fall. Its application from St. Jerome downward to Satan in his fall from heaven arises probably from the fact that the Babylonian Empire in the scripture represented as the type of tyrannical, I can't really say it, whatever, a self-idolizing power. All right. Satan means adversary, one who resists. Now, let me just stop right there. Let me stop right there for a second. Satan means adversary, which means one who resists. It's a Hebrew word. Now, one who resists is not necessarily connected to anything. Because if I'm going this way and someone, another entity or human, is pulling me that way, and I'm resisting, I must be operating under satanic law. If someone's getting kidnapped and somebody's pulling the child this way and the child is going against, rebelling, being an adversary to the instruction, not listening and going the other direction, that is absolutely satanic if we are really being technical about these things. and the word and the name, right? So all it means is to resist. Okay, so that can go under so many plethoras of narratives as to why one would exist and why a person should probably not resist, right? So we cannot. I think it's okay to have these conversations about being mature enough to place these names without constantly placing them in one judgment form of bad. It's just like sometimes a motherfucker needs to resist or rebel and like say no when it was told that it should be yes. Like, where does that operational point of being human begin? This is what we call sin. I guess this is the heinous crime of what we call sin. So I just wanted to read into that really quickly. There is some dispute as to whether it should be taken as a proper name or title. But yeah, so I'm gonna stop right there, and I just wanted to bring into more of a logical, common sense view in my mind about this angel. He was supposedly perfect, the most beautiful. He knew this about himself so much that it emanated. He brought the light of this knowingness anywhere he went. It offended, right? So here's the thing about heaven and hell, all right? And when I say heaven and hell, we're going to talk about north and south or up and down. You might hear drums in the background. I hope you guys can still hear me. Drums might be playing for like the next 10 minutes. Yeah, someone's playing the drums in another area, but the drums should stop soon. But anyway, we're going to talk about up and down, heaven and hell, north and south. When there is a demonic form, so there are habitats of types. If we have angels, we have demons, right? The angelic realm lives more comfortably in the north side of self. Okay, they are thought-provoking beings. They are initiators of vision. They see ahead of time, which makes them the head, the up, the north, and they indulge in that vision. Now, the whole entire body is created when that vision is accepted in the whole being of God, right? To trickle into the space of the demonic realm. It's kind of like the rain. So when it rains upon the bottom point, they are the receivers. So the demons receive as the angels give, right? So so the war between angelics and demons have always been topsy-turvy, because who the fuck is instructing these angels to rain upon us this bullshit? And like demons would be like, the angels would be like, we are raining down this amazingness, but where are the demons who are able to accept this and manifest it into a form that is needed to solidify, called the body, the mind, the soul, where the real demons at? Like, no one's accepting the food, the rain. So there's been a lot of wars between the angelic self and the demonic self on who can capture, who can embody what's being rained down into the realm. So that's just a visual that I just wanted to share with you guys. Hold on, the drums aren't so loud. I can hear you clearly. Great, they're loud to me. So I don't. If I start like raising my voice, I'm glad you guys can hear me good, because it's a bit distracting. So the thing about this is, when let's start talking about sexuality. Sexuality is always associated with the bottom part of self. I even went to look into the story of the Siren, right, which is more so the female side or the feminine side of sexuality. This mysterious side of sex, of sensuality, sexuality. Now, when you really look into what a siren is, she is of the heavens and the waters. She is She is a female bird who also lives in the water. Okay, so let's remember that the siren or the mermaid that we depict has wings too, right? So there's an aspect of up top and down, right? So she is, and I actually wrote this down because I thought it was profound. It says a siren woman archetype is a woman who knows what her true heart desires and is in a relationship with the depths of her own subconscious mind. Her subconscious mind represents her water nature, her watery nature, that habitat. A lot of humans have disregarded the top side of the siren. She is only recognized for her belly down, which is what we call fishing, right? So they just want the fish tail, they don't want the entire being. So a lot of traumatic experiences, because I actually believe like sirens are real species and creatures that still exist, that have existed in so many forms. A lot of the traumas come from misunderstood or just a part of a cycle where, when you catch something out of the water and you got to divide it up and chop it up into pieces for whatever reason to feast, that's just what you do, right? So there were these masculine energies that would only want to harvest or feast from the tail, right? But harvest the top part, all right? Her mind, control the mind, clip her wings, and feast from her tail, right? And so the thing is, sirens or any kind of reptile underwater, in that sense, in that mode, is has the gift and the curse of being a regenerative being. So if you chop off an octopus's arm, it's gonna grow back. You do things, you slaughter, you do traumatic things to a being that can grow something back and replace itself. There is this colonization that happens where you see opportunity in that. You can chop off the tail grows back into another tail, and then you chop off the tail again and you feast from that tail and whatever that brings in the magical mysteries of whatever. And she just grows the tail back. She just keeps growing a tail because that's just what she does. But that is hurtful, it's traumatic, and it's a horrible thing to be caught in the frequency of over time just because you are who you are. Something called that species of nature being the siren. So there's this misunderstanding, I feel, where in storyline, we feel like it's best once we get into our sexuality to be in the dark, to be dark and mysterious, and anything of the light is non-sexual. And to be smart, intelligent, to express yourself in word, especially as a woman, is a no-no if you want to be considered a vixen, or you want to be considered sexual, or you want to be considered for something that makes you feel beautiful or good, or as a woman, like, stop talking as much and be a little bit more mysterious and be a little bit more curvy and do this and do that. And there's like this weird studying of that portion. And there's this demonizing of the up top head, the thought, the intelligence factor, and the word of the sex, of the sexuality of that same being. So there's been a separation of these two, and we've been going at it for a long time. In the female side of things, hell yeah, we got the up tops and the down southerners and shit. And it's like, God damn it, so we've been playing Miss Potato Head with each other in storylines that don't make sense, right? I don't want to get too deep into that, but that has been making a lot of us sick lately, because there are a lot of beings like myself that I already have my top and bottom. I don't need to share. I don't need to switch off and be the head because I'm more wordy and mouthy and intelligent on the north side, that I get attached to a south side that's another motherfucker that ain't as northy as I am. And now us together, two wives instead of one, two together by my side instead of one. I'm just like, nah, like I'm all of it, right? So this is the female Luciferian light bringing side. I'm coming into this point. A whole ass woman, a whole ass girl, a whole ass female, right? So I gotta stand up and I gotta show you guys my legs, right? So you know what I'm saying? I got legs. I got legs, right? I gotta do that because some of y'all might get confused that this is just me, you know, and like I don't have any bottom because y'all don't see that part. You know, so like this is something that is becoming a problem because some weird cult chopped us up in motherfucking pieces. And just like the Egyptian story, it's not just about Osiris now, it's about everybody. Like everybody feeling like they need other people to complete a body point and like part of themselves. Now, there's a point where I feel like you come into the portal and complete, you're going to have to learn how to regenerate that. Okay? You can't pull a person into your realm because you are lacking there. And then this is where we come into payment exchange, value exchange. Well, I could do that for you and provide that service, right? But now we're talking about respect, negotiations, and other things. Are you guys still with me here? So anyway, that's the court of Lucifer. A beautiful person, the perfect one, which is what Nefertiti also means, which was the curse. It's a curse to be the perfect one. Is that it's just a whole person, 100% complete in oneself. It doesn't mean the best person. There are other perfect ones. When you come to a point of being 100% complete in your entire being, from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, 360 around, that is a celebration of a sphere of a soul called the perfect one. All right? Now, when you walk it, now somebody done took the word of God and said, this is a crime. You cannot, this earth and this matrix cannot bear to host you in such vulgarity of beauty. You are offending the others who are not yet complete. And there are more of them, which makes them the children of God, and you some weird monster demon thing that we need to punish. Either dial it down, stop shining so much, cut your hair. Well, I did cut my hair. Well, it still looks good. Grow it, put a wig on. Okay, I'll put a wig on. That looks good too. Take it off. Okay. Damn, put it back on. God damn it, shave your head. Okay. Damn, you still shining. Stop wearing makeup. Okay. Damn it. Okay. And other stuff and other stuff and other stuff. It's just like everything that is summoned against a shining one to be less shining to a real shining one, nothing ever works. All right. So the next thing that comes from this crime is to kill, to destroy permanently. And these are what you call crimes against the Luciferian, crimes against God's angel. And I don't think God ever meant that to happen to an embodiment of what is supposed to represent beauty, what is supposed to represent a complete being. Now, when you were casted out of heaven, that does not mean you're being punished. It just means that you're ready to build, to experience, to teach, to touch, right? So heaven is a thought form. It is an essence that needs to solidify. So being solidified is actually a reward from God. Yes, God cast me down because I've been waiting to go down there anyway. I've been doing nothing but watching them play in the sand and the dirt, watching them sing and dance and be merry. And I'm still up here with you, right? When is it my turn? And God eventually says, do so. It's called a sin. Operate against me, and thy will cast you down upon them. So what happens in heaven is that motherfuckers listen to everything God says, and they never get a chance to get casted out of fucking heaven. And then do you know that angels get jealous of motherfuckers that have been casted down because they don't have the wherewithal to sin against the house of the Lord. Sometimes you got to tell God, no, I don't feel like it. Not today, God. And God says, how dare you rebel against me? In the name of Satan, I shall cast you down into the pits of earth. And I'm over here. That angel has a big ass smile on his or her face that says, do it. You know, and that begins like that's a storyline, because not all falls are created equal, right? Watch your mouth, watch your tone, be respectful. You know what I mean? But like, yes, God shall cast you down the moment you rebel against him in his house. Now, I'm going to kind of conclude on this note before I go into the comments real quick. But the thing about, you know how in a game you have offense and defense. The offensive player, they're the starters, right? So you have people that are very offensive. Then you have those that do better in playing defense. They are the responders to whatever's happening, but they can never really start anything. So they have to wait for an offense or an offensive person to offend the play so that they can now respond to the offense in a defensive way, right? So when you play outside of your comfort zone, you know, if you've been comfortable in defense, now it's time to switch, and now you gotta go into the offensive side of self, and vice versa, you know. So this is something where they say all dogs go to heaven. It's just like all gods get called back to heaven. Be offensive on earth, and you shall find yourself back in the graces of God. All right. So how are you being offensive in your storyline? Now, will people be offended? That's none of my business. But what I can do is initiate a storyline that feels good to me. And I may offend, but I am on the offensive side of things, called up top. You know what I'm saying? And then I get to influence everything that comes underneath me, my thoughts, my beliefs. Everything is all about me. So this is where ego comes in. This is why I said Lucifer has the biggest ego in the fucking world. The biggest fucking ego. It's just like everything that I create in my offensive state from the up top, I will grasp upon those fruits and like be fruitful in that thought process. Anybody else in the way of that, now this is where we start, you know, being offended by an egotistical, beautiful, shining person, you know. And then we got like low key. You know, low key is also an entity, right? Bobby, what about the Venus energy? You said the Venus energy? The Venusian. Now the thing is, we got to think about nature and balance and harmony. Hell, when we think about hell, like real hell is torture. Hell is not down. Okay. We can go into the waters or we can go underground. Like, where are we going? And we're talking about hell as a place. Hell is a feeling. It's a feeling of perpetual torture, of purgatory, of non-movement, non-progression, unhappiness that cannot move the needle to even get to another point of emotion for a long period of time, no matter what. You cannot cast, not even God himself can cast anyone into that despair. Right? So it's kind of like, but it is a space and a realm that does exist because there are entities that rule over torture, purgatory, non progression. And those are who I call the monsters. So it's just like, the closer you get to them, you got to watch that frequency gate. You got to see, like, I'm next door to you, but I'm not in your home. And like, it's just different. Like, I'm not here for that. Well, I feel like Venus is regrowing herself. We call Venus, when we think of Venus, as like a feminine aspect, but it's a developmental thing with earthling perspective. Something made me look into Statue of Liberty, the story behind liberty and the gift from the French. I kind of like renewed my knowledge on that. And, it was a gift from the French to America because they absolutely loved America's fresh perspective and new beginnings. And they wanted to offer a gift of what represented the goddess Freya, or Liberty, or Columbia, to the Americas, to wish them love, liberty, and freedom. And the thing about that is, when the statue arrived and was fully all together, and it was a celebration, I believe in 1861 or something like that, um, not everybody agreed. Like, we have this essence of liberty, great intentions from the French, but women's rights were still shitty. Women still couldn't vote. There was still some civil things going on between Black people and white people, and people still feeling like slaves, and still segregation. I can't drink from that water fountain, but you know what I mean? Like, there was still that going on. How dare you bring this symbol to the island of Ellis in the harbor of New York and claim that this is a gift of liberty, when I don't feel that way. I don't give a fuck if you got a statue of this goddess up in this piece. I don't feel this way. So there were like riots and protests against liberty because there were groups of people that didn't feel liberated. And it felt more like a gift for the immigrants, because the immigrants were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and excited about this Ellis Island passage throughway for a new life in America, when Americans were going through a lot of shit. So do we blame liberty? Do we attack the essence of freedom and herself, the shining one in female form that represents all things um, pleasure and abundant, wealth, health, love, sex, like everything you can ever possibly want, she can host and offer in goddess form, right? But if you don't feel that about yourself, that can be offensive, right? So that's a great example of something being there a little too soon, possibly, but needed to be there to stir up controversy enough static. It was so offensively beautiful in a gifting that people were defensive about it. And there were fights about liberty for a while. But it doesn't take away from what liberty represented, which was really simple. So it takes a while for an essence of something to be in a space And then for people to grow around that eventually, having to come to terms with it, which can be frustrating to the goddess energy itself, enveloped in human form and other forms, waiting for people to fucking get it. And that's very hurtful to the angelic realm, to the goddess realm. I understand those realms. They actually feel very deeply, very intensely. They're very sensitive to the static or the embracing of what the essence is at large. Kind of like what was that show, American Gods, where the gods were really afraid. The one thing that they were really afraid of was no one caring about them, worshiping them, thinking about them. They would turn poor, disappear. They would start like deteriorating as a god once the humans or the followers or the people, the others, right, the non-gods, just stop believing in them. And there's an actual essence and feeling that does transfer to a real body that can feel the pain from people not believing, not caring, or trying to destroy. So, thank you. So yeah, I think we got into that conversation just talking about Venus. I think the essence of Venus, next door neighbor to Earth, right? We got Mars on the other side. Mars is also developing a new reason to fight, to protect Venus, actually, this time, not to hurt Venus. The Mars energy is very, very sensitive to instruction form. It's the uniformatic type where they take pride. I always compare them to like military type personalities. There's a pride that comes with honoring, protecting the uniform, the unified agreement toward a goal, to fight for something. And I think the Mars energy is being cleansed and reset, because we need them. We need the real Mars people to like descend from their pods and fight for us, fight for love, fight for liberty, fight for beauty, and become that, like just be beautiful. It's just really simple, like be beautiful, but be that warrior, and that's male or female. Again, this is all androgynous energy we're talking about. But yes, I'm about to conclude. I don't know if anyone wanted a reading or anything. Oh, I didn't check any notifications. Michelle Walker, thank you for your Cash App donation. I didn't see it earlier. Thank you. And again, if anyone would like to donate to my Cash App, it is pinned in the comments, the chat. There's some cards out there. But yeah, usually when I do readings, it's anything $20 or more donated. Just add your birthday into the notes, and I'll go ahead with the reading. If not, I didn't come on here to really do readings, but I have a few more minutes if anybody really wanted to get into that. Juliet, okay. If you would like to donate anything, Juliet, to the Cash App or Venmo, I will get that donation, and just tell me what your birthday is, and we can get into it and kind of like segue out of here with your reading, Juliet, if you would like that. Tanika said, I'm planning to remain celibate the entire 25. Good for you if that's what your decision is. So to me, well, to certain people, celibacy is a natural feeling, and some really have to make a decision for that. Shayna, I just got your Cash App. Thank you. Is that you? Or just another person, Juliet? I don't want to get anyone mixed up. But some people have to like make, okay, that's you. Got you. Okay, so what's your birth date, Shayna? And thank you, by the way. Yeah, celibacy is like I plan, this is what I'm going to do. And some celibate people are just like, this is what I feel like doing. It's what I want to do anyway. And I don't want to really say that I'm celibate because I'm just not active, because that's just how my season is for my cycle and self, you know? Okay, 11/2. Hold on, let me get, because I wasn't planning on doing, let me get a pen real quick. And paper. Okay. All right, let me write that down. 11. I noticed that you put 02 instead of 2. I noticed stuff like that. And the infamous year 1984. All right, so we have, that's 13, then 4, 4 and 4, which is 8. Okay, so you have a life path of 8. Cool. So let me look into this. So far from your numbers, you are definitely, of course, we're going to go into, yes, you're a Scorpio, right? I always talk about the phantom birthdays. I will add this into my book, okay? Because this has been like really resonating with people. So Shayna, I don't know if you're realizing this, but, and I hate to repeat myself, I hope I'm not, but like an 11 really quickly is kind of the same as a 2. So February. So phantom birthdays are for those who were born in the first 3 months or the last 3 months of the year, where you get to have a hidden shadow birthday that you can celebrate that does give you another alternative frequency. So your Scorpion frequency with 11/2 with November is yours, right? But if you were to transfer that 11 into a February 2nd, right, that would bring you into what? Aquarius, right? So Aquarius is completely different from Scorpio, but your numbers are actually aligned with that Aquarian and with that Scorpion side of self. So if you didn't know that about your birthday, I would look into or write this down and just maybe honor February 2nd as well as your November 2nd. So that just gives you a fairness. And I always, Aquarius and Scorpio, it's interesting how November and February do this with each other. But Aquarius is the water bringer, water bearer, right? The Lucifer of water, the water bringer. That is an air sign. It is so confusing to the subconscious that thinks of aqua, Aquarian, aquarium, water bearer. Who the fuck said Aquarius is an air sign? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand the shit, right? So it's just like, Aquarius is air. I always forget Aquarius is an air sign. But then we have Scorpion, which is also water, right? So my question for you with that, just with that alone, is do you feel like you need to be more into your air self for the rest of this 2025, right? Because we're closer. February was just last month. November is coming up later in the year. So you're a little close to a point and passage of yourself that allows you to ask yourself, more air or more water for you personally? Let me pull a card or two for that. Hold on. Okay. So the 2 came up, 2 of hearts, and I said the 11, which is 1 + 1 = 2, is February. your essence is responding in a way of saying, choose Aquarius for this year. Choose your Aquarian side that you haven't explored yet necessarily, and kind of descend into your Scorpio by the time you get into November. So you can claim to be Aquarian. You're not lying about your birthday, right? Or anything. Just be an Aquarius, because you can be. Just and see how that changes and alters your like your timeline and certain decisions that you make. That's a little deeper dive, I should say, into like more of a natal reading. I can do that for you. If you email me, we can do that another time. But I just wanted to make you aware of that side of yourself. Also, your life path is 8, and your heavy hitter year that you were born, 1984. Geez, that's the year. Like, have you watched 1984? Have you read the book? I'm an 83 person, so I was born during the year of the WW creation. So we were kind of like the first round of internet baby, right? So we're kind of weirdos too, just like these 2000s people, right? We're like the first group of weirdos born into the realm after the internet was like really in place, www era. So there's a part of you that carries a lot of the base record of that. What I'm going to say is, being an 84 person, and I was just talking to another person born in 84 not too long ago. We were talking about Etch-a-Sketch and Light Bright, and that made me so happy. Talking about, like, there was somebody that actually had an Etch-a-Sketch, and we were talking about it and how you shake it up, and like how it only drew in straight lines, and then like the Light Bright, and it was so amazing, such an amazing conversation, right? Anyway, I say that all to say that there's a value in having these memories. Please don't forget your base, because it, in the next year or two, like in the next 2 years, this is going to be what cashes in for value. There's so many memories being erased, even from people born in the 70s. They don't remember a lot of things, but for some reason, us WW daughters, 83, 84, 85, 86ers, we have a static that we were born into that for some reason can't be erased, right? Like, mama might have forgot, grandma might have definitely forgot, but God damn it, I was born in the 80s and I can't forget, right? So there's like, again, this war against memory, because when you get rid of the memory, you can start to erase people's souls and realign and totally control a person. Memory has a lot of weight to it. So your 8, your life path, stick to it. I don't know if you have like an 8 tattoo somewhere, or like a snake 8. Is there like some kind of 8 on your body? If you don't have the number 8 on your body in ink, and you were thinking about getting a tattoo, I would think about or suggest exploring that, because that 8 is like your anchor, right? So the thing about 8 is, like, 8 is so dangerous, but so protective when you're on the side of it. The 8 for me is like, sand clock. It is the owner of time. Don't waste my motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? That 8, like, lets me know, like, the sand clock is, you know what I mean? That hourglass, or the sideways cuffs, right? That locking in, that it's such an authoritative symbol and number. So you can use that. You said yes. Yes about the tattoo? Okay, no tattoos. Okay, so if you were thinking about getting one, someone said Atari, Nintendo, Sega. Got it. So yes, these are memories that really are going to be necessary as we start losing our minds this year. Let me go into, so I'm looking into why you wrote out 02. There's a lot of red and diamonds coming out right now. It's just ridiculous. It's almost like this is like a lot. I've never had so many, like King of Hearts, 2 of Diamonds, 9 of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts. Like I'm over here looking for spades or something. So this is a good thing. The O2. So I'm gonna take that literal. Shayna, 2002. So when I look at the numbers 1102, the way you wrote it out, it can be, it can actually be in the resonance of 2002, of like 2002. Is there anything significant in the year 2002 for you that you need to close off? That you need to create like a resolution with? I know it was right after 9/11. A lot of tragedy happened just globally during that time. If you could just go back to 2002 and just remember something about that, because it spoke through the way you wrote your birthday out. That's all I'm going to say. And also, do you have any questions? Because sometimes I just fly off the handle and go random if there's no like particular questions about anything, you know? I don't want to like force anything. You were in junior, I was in junior high school, rough life, especially with mom. So you remember a rough life? Juliet, you sure you were in junior high school? Because I was in college and I was born in 1983, Juliet. Let's fix this memory gap. Juliet, you were not in junior high school in 2002. Oh, you were in junior college. Now, all right, you see what I'm saying, Juliet? How memories are important? No. You're not old. All right. Juliet, okay, please just email me, Juliet, just because, all right? There's a real program that wants us to believe that we are, like, there's a punishment for being or saying that we're old, because the lie that you were told that you believed just now was that you was in junior high school. I had to tell you that you weren't, because I wasn't, because we're only a year apart. Juliet, we need to like talk about some dream state sessions, because there's been a lot of programming. I don't like to say they, because I'm not a airy fairy conspiracy theorist person, but there is programming that extracts and replaces memories and truths, and we wake up in the morning and not know that that happened. It's like brain surgery during dream time. And it's like, you don't know until you know, but you're walking around in an essence that is like not true because of it. You know what I mean? So we need to work on that, because that's been affecting I've been like tripping off of that too sometimes. But that's something to look out for, because that can be dangerous. You know, okay, and I was gonna say something else before ending this out. Oh, and I did ask you if you had any particular question, like at least one question specifically for me, before we conclude. You said you had a rough life with your mom too. Okay. No questions? Okay. Yes, Juliet, if you can email me, we can definitely dive deeper into your dream state self, memories, and we can talk about bridging a gap that might need to be bridged if you feel it's worth it. and we can do that together if you would like to. You can definitely email me at tarenguy@gmail.com. Just tell me that you're Juliet or Shayna, and then we'll take it from there. But thank you. And I'm glad that you allowed me to just dive into your numbers for a little bit. Kay, you sent a Cash App. Oh, I don't see a name. I see that. Kay, I can end with you for sure. Thank you. I wasn't expecting to get another. So you're very welcome, Shayna. Kay, if you can just tell me your birth date, I can definitely get into it before I head out, because I didn't even see that. So I'm glad I looked in the comments. 11/16. What a joyful birthday. That's I think that's Lisa Bonet's birthday. I keep up with all my 16s, all my 16 people. Like I was obsessed with 16 birthday people, because I'm a 16er, like a Sade and Aaliyah and Lisa Bonet, like just people with 16 birthdays, 16, number 16s. Oh, actually, so it's funny because another 16er, I think his birthday just passed. Abel, The Weekend, right? He's a 16er. I just looked at the numbers. Phantom birthday is February 16th. So November 11/16 can equal Aquarian February 16th. And when I heard February 16th on looking at it on paper, I'm like, The Weeknd's birthday just passed and his birthday is 2/16. So here we go with another celebrity situation intertwining, and we got a 2/16. So you could take that. First of all, Janet Jackson. Exactly. Janet Jackson is May 16th, a 5/16. All right. So see, I just know 16ers is a thing with me. My son's birthday is my birthday, September 16th. And he was born on my birthday. And I'm like, but okay, so there's that. So you do have the February Aquarian energy as well, as Shayna did with the Scorpion and the Aquarian side. So that's coming up a lot. Scorpio and Aquarius is really kind of intertwining from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It must be some kind of a reach out. I see Aquarian and Scorpion doing this, kind of forming a snake or wormhole or a circle from November 2025 that hasn't arrived yet, and February 16th that has arrived and passed, linking to each other. So there's something going on there where I feel the only reason why the future and the past would link this way is if there's travel involved. So in space, they travel through wormholes as shortcuts to get from one point to another point that would have taken them 10 years to get to that place and coordinate, but they folded something in the universe and it just took them 2 months instead. So in saying that, there's a waiting period that a lot of us are going through. And there's a lot of us that are waiting for something that it's becoming heavy as we wait, even though we are supposed to wait. And there's this mercy feeling. I don't know if you're waiting on something, waiting for something to happen, waiting to go somewhere, waiting. But there's a mercy God, mercy. Mercy God is also Mercury, right? He gives no mercy unless it is granted and justified, right? So there's a mercy to the wary soul that should be granted a shortcut to something well deserved and like appointed to, but just earlier. Like it's like there's a okay this year for some people to get the thing or to get to the thing or to the place a little earlier because it's too heavy to wait, even though it's in the timeline to do so. That's a good thing if you're able to understand. Uh, if you're able to kind of like rearrange your vision, if you can attach what hasn't happened yet, your birthday, 11/16, to what has happened, February 16th, if you can somehow connect that in a vision and make that thing connect in a dream or a vision that you have, there is mercy granted since you've built a portal into a shortcut of something beautiful, right? It's not like a dark hole that sends you to nowhere. It's like your own door for your own travel, which is a beautiful thing. Let me see. Um, Someone says sexy red is a 16 too. Really? Well, 16 is a divine number. 7 is different from 16, and I'll tell you. Because you have a 1 to 6 factor. There's a range. Anything 1-6 is supreme because there's been a guiding factor of level 1 to level 6, which equals 7, which is whole and complete. So we've been through some things. Like 16ers are not 16 years old, but we might look like it, feel like it, right? But we've been through the ladder of the first chakra to the 6th, which gives us the crown of self. So we're like self-sustained, all right? Now a 7 by itself as a symbol or the number 7 is different from 16. It's an angle, it's an acute angle on top of that. It's not a right angle, it's an acute angle. So there's a different frequency with the number 7 than it is with a 1-6, all right? We can talk about that another time. K. Now, I know I was talking about your phantom February and November stuff. Is there anything that in particular that you wanted to ask, though, before I head out? Oh my God. I'm starting to think like my card deck is rigged, yo. I got to shuffle one more time. It's ridiculous. God, pick from the middle of the deck. Damn. All right. 5 of diamonds. This is the 5th today. We are March 5th, Wednesday. So if I'm not right, if I am right, 5 aligns with today. All right. I'm going to do this out of fairness because I didn't come up with this by myself. Like, this is a hello and a shout out. I'm gonna give a shout out to Seven Bomar, all right? Because a lot of what I know about numbers and planetary systems and alignments and shit came from his teachings, okay? And I just turned into the weirdo that kept up with the language and it became very natural to me, all right? I didn't like make this up. I'm not copying off of nobody. I just learned when I was watching him and learning from him that the number 5 aligns with Mercury, which aligns with Wednesday, which aligns with the 5. And I'm like, I remember that somehow, right? Anyway, today's the 5th, is Wednesday, and it's Mercury. So that's 555. That's like 5. Remember back in the day on the movies when you would call, like when the character would call the other character, the number was 555. Like that was a Hollywood number so that people watching the movie wouldn't try to dial the numbers in the movie trying to get to the superstar. 555. So there's a thing with that. Unreachable. Okay? You can't touch me unless I say so. That's 5. That's 555. I am way too great in my greatness of greatness, by the way, to like be too attainable and accessible to you unless I give you my number. So, by the way, it's 555. And then it's just like, okay, we can have lunch. We can meet. You can touch my arm because, I'm 555 up in this bitch. Don't touch me. So like 5 people are weird. Like they're like paranoid sometimes and they have every right to be. Mercury is very sensitive. Mercury is like closest to the sun and gets all of the information first. It can be blinding, it can be annoying, but Mercury does very well with processing it. It's just like you're way down over there and like you're too dirty and tainted right now. Like go through Neptune, fly through Saturn, get checked out, and then skip Mars. But if you get caught on Mars, you definitely can't touch me. Leave Venus the fuck alone, come on Earth, and then come around and meet me out over there in the bubble outside of Mercury, and I might open my door for you, or you might get stuck in space. Because I don't know if I like your smell, your scent. I love Mercury. I could write a whole book on Mercury. Like Mercury is just ridiculously crazy. But this came out for you, Kay. 5 of diamonds. As I was trying to just understand like your frequency. So I don't know if I am close to like your feeling. And I don't know if that's something that you vibe with or if there's something you want to change. Because there are some people that want to be more integrated with the average human. And there are some people that are just fine with not being integrated with the average human, So are you in that space to open yourself up to newer energies, unfamiliar? And are you able to make a discernment level judgment? Because with you got to be careful on who you let in when you finally do. You don't want any Trojan horse situation. It's easy. And I think we are all kind of like going through that right now because a lot of people have been suffering from isolation, from COVID, and all kinds of stuff that we're happy to connect with people, but there's some, we need that 5 hand and just be like, stay over there. Let me vet you out. Let me do some fact checks before you come into my space, like even close enough to my face. You know what I mean? And is that a detriment to intimacy? Does that delay love, connection, friendship, business situations for being like this because it's your nature to do so? Or is it time to start relaxing into the Venusian side? She's next door to Mercury, and like, becoming more open, right? So the flame, the fire, it opens up, it flares. So anything that flares, even the skin or like fur, like anything that flares is creating an opening in the pores. Even your skin, if it flares up, there's like a rash or something, your pores opened a little too much, right? The Venus energy is so, she's different from Mercury. She opens up so much. She lets it all in and she gets fucked up sometimes. But that's life, right? So that's the female side. It's just like, yeah, I get fucked up or I might fall in love. Oops. I fell in love. Instead of falling into a shit pile, I fell in love because I opened up my flame, my flare. Mercury is closed up. That nigga don't open up for nobody, So it's like, How do we do that dance safely, you know, and beautifully this time? Um, what should be shed to maximize mercy? What streams in the air for love and abundance? Okay, I think I actually kind of just answered those questions because I didn't know that you wrote that. Um, yes, you said it's time to start relaxing into the Venusian side, but still keep those boundaries. Yes, and I feel, okay, so Kay, I feel we can conclude on this that the harmonizing of boundaries and openness is the lesson and the gift of practicing and bringing into fruition for this year for you is to harmonize with boundaries, you know, that open closed form of self. It's like that's tricky. Even the most intelligent, smartest ever person in the world can trip up on such as a thing to harmonize that. It's hard, you know. Some of the most intelligent people are the most loneliest because they are, that one thing they just can't do is open up, you know. And then the opposition of that is the one thing that the most beautiful, whatever, everything most perfect. The mistake with that person is that they're always open, no boundaries, no stop point. Like, shouldn't I end this video already? Should I keep going? What time is it? What do I have to do? What's next on my agenda? You know, like I have issues with that. Like, I'll keep going until I'm just like, all right, my computer's dying, guys. I gotta go. Instead of like having a stop point, like hard stop. It's 5:20 p.m. PST. It's time to say goodbye. Mercury says, practice these boundaries. Now you have 5 minutes to exit out. Okay. I appreciate you too. Thank you, by the way, for your donation, for contributing, and for hearing me out. I'm just going to take these 5 Mercury minutes to just say goodbye to everybody and pack up and conclude my night. And of course, always thank you guys for being here with me. If you would like to inquire about any personal readings, I don't have a website up. Just email me, tell me you want a reading, what the next steps are. I'll email you back. Like it's kind of like that with me. It works though. So just email me. I usually do 30-minute sessions or 1 hour, depending on what you want. So we can do that. And vote for me. The link is in the description for Sierra's Dance Icon contest. I am ranked as number 5. I don't know if the numbers have changed so far. Let me take these 3 Mercury minutes to see where I am on the spectrum. I'm still currently number 5. All right. That's amazing. All right. So you can vote for me there. I'll make the top 5. And I'm going to start promoting my music a little bit more later. But of course, you can check out my album on Apple, Spotify, or everywhere. It's under tarenguy, but the name of the album is called Planet Pluto. And it's been out for a couple of years now, but I haven't really been focused on that side of my art publicly yet. So this will be the year to do that for me. So you'll see more music from me and other stuff. So 2 more Mercury minutes to like breathe. And now I'm going to say I love you guys. Peace out. Goodbye. I'll see you another time.